afternoon. It is really good to be here today. The tradition at Community Church for at least a century, maybe 150 years, was that we shut down completely in June, July, and August. And we've slowly been kind of inching for a while. Things were in the basement, and we have been moving to a place, and this is our first summer of like having a full choir. The senior minister is here. I feel like there's a lot of fun we have been missing out on, and I'm really glad to be here right now. And I also want to really quickly, before we open, say thank you to the music people who planned everything well in advance, and then I changed everything at the last minute because, you know, it is what it is. So thank you. Let us begin. Today we're talking about community, talking about covenant, we're talking about who we are and why we are here together. So come into this place. There are healing oils here and hands with soothing balm to ease your troubled days. Bring your wounds, your aching hearts, your scars too numb to feel. All are welcome here. Rest a while. Let the warmth of this community surround you, hold you, heal you. When you feel stronger just a bit, notice those that need you too. They are here. They are everywhere. Weep with them, smile with them, work with them, laugh with them, pass the cup, drink the holy fire, take it with you into the world. We are saved, and we save each other again and again and again. Please rise in body or spirit. Let's sing together our opening song, Woyaya, and all the lyrics will be on that one-page program we have.
We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know within, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know within.
We are going. It will be hard.
begin our service lighting the chalice. This is part of our shared faith.
We light the chalice, the fire that guides and unites our church, kindling the flame of love that burns at the center of our faith. Please join me in the reciting of our unison affirmation. The words are in your order of service. Unto the Church Universal, which is the depository of all ancient wisdom and the school of all modern thought, which recognizes in all prophets a harmony, in all scriptures a unity, and through all dispensations a continuity, which abjures all that separates and divides and always magnifies humanity and peace, which seeks truth and freedom, justice and love, and individual discipline in social duty, and which shall make of all persons one beloved community. Unto this church and unto all its members, known and unknown throughout the world, we pledge the allegiance of our hands and heart. We greet each other on Sundays as part of our liturgy. We turn to our neighbor, whether they are strangers or old friends, and we welcome them to our shared space. It is our way of saying our spiritual path is communal, that we are in this together. It is not just friendly, it is how we ground ourselves in this space with each other. Please greet your neighbor. Okay. All right. Yeah, people don't want to hear what I'm saying now because it might not be nice.
Please find your seats. No, you're staying there. Back. Find yourself a seat. On Sundays, we all come in here with some kind of whatever, chaos, joy, love, whatever it is we've walked in here with. And then we come in and we start talking about whatever the topic is for the day. And it always seems strange to me that we don't acknowledge that there's something else happening in the world. And so if we just take a minute on Sundays to say, like, what is it that's happening in the world? And I'm going to name what I think may be part of our collective experience. Tell me if you agree. Chaos. Does chaos feel like the collective experience? Like whatever is happening out there is swirling so fast, sort of a toxic stew that we seem to have all been caught up in. So I want to name it. That's real. And while that's real, when we walk through the door, we do get respite. we do get a moment to just breathe, to be together, to be with people who share our values, to name what's true without having to fight about it, to just say, this is real, this is who we are. And so we're going to shift our energy into this time of prayer and meditation. And one way to do that is by simply listening to the sound of the chime. Focus attention on what we hear. Spirit of the universe, God of the moon and sun, lover and body of earth, we pray in gratitude for summertime. The birds sing, the trees spread out, the people take to the streets, to the park, to the pools in freedom on a planet that has gotten so big in this welcoming warmth.
God with you.
Even the joy of July won't be louder than the pain of our neighbors, our fear of the future, our aching love for a nation under stress. Spirit of the universe, God of the moon and sun, lover and body of earth, our hearts are broken by the intentional tearing of the social fabric. May our leaders be awakened to the pain they are causing. May compassion become our national watchword and empathy our collective prayer.
Hold my hand.
We are holding in love all the people grieving, especially those who lost children and family in the floodwaters in Texas. We are holding in love all the people grieving, especially those torn from their homes and communities in callous and cruel ice raids. We are holding in love all the people grieving, especially those suffering under the weight of military action like those victimized in Ukraine and Palestine. Spirit of the universe, God of the moon and sun, lover and body of earth, wrap yourself around all who suffer, and may we too become your arms of compassion.
Stand by me.
In the spirit of hope and love and community, please join us in lighting a candle for your own intentions. Spirit of the universe, God of the moon and sun, lover and body of earth, we pray in gratitude for all that we have and all that we are on this and every day with this and every breath. Amen. So this is where we usually have someone come and tell a story. And I usually pass off the story to someone else, but I got no one to pass it off to. But luckily, rather than tell a story, I'm going to read a story. And I'm going to read a story because the story was written so beautifully, it doesn't make sense for me to tell it in my own words, and it is not my story. It is the story of Reverend Frank Hall. He was the senior minister in Westport. I think he retired maybe 10 years ago. So this happened quite some time ago, but this is his story. And I want to give you fair warning right now. I have told this story many times. I have never told this story without crying. I was rehearsing over at my office, and I'm still crying. Now, everything is fine in this story. There's actually no really sad ending, but I somehow just feel this story a lot. So, fingers crossed, maybe this is my first time. This is in the words of Reverend Frank Hall. I drove with my family to Marblehead Neck, so named because it sticks its neck out into the cold Massachusetts Bay on the north shore of Boston. The town is comprised of a rocky peninsula that extends into the cold Atlantic. On that September afternoon, we went to watch huge waves we heard were crashing onto the rocks following a big storm. It was a warm, clear day, and I've never seen such huge waves crashing onto sea rocks where I'd spent many pleasant hours sitting by a calmer sea, reading or just relaxing. I went to college in nearby Salem. I had my son Jonathan, who was 4 years old, on my shoulders, and Anita was holding Susan's hand. Susan was 8. We were in a high, safe spot, but two 12 or 14-year-old boys were in a precarious position on lower rocks close to the shore where the waves were crashing highest. They were being bold. They dressed in bright yellow slickers, and they were laughing and challenging one another to get closer. Then it happened. A massive wave came crashing onto their rocks. One of the boys managed to cling to the rock, and as soon as the wave subsided, he scampered down onto the shore. His companion wasn't so fortunate. He was washed into that roiling sea, pulled out by the receding wave. I took Jonathan from my shoulders and went running down from our safe rock perch. I kicked off my shoes and was ready to dive in to save the boy when another huge wave rose 20 feet and came roiling after me, and I retreated. Bold is one thing, impossibly brazen another. I scampered barefoot up the rocks where the two boys had been, and just when I arrived, a wave hit and I held on for dear life. Then a strange thing happened. Someone standing on shore in the backyard of a house that was being hit by the biggest waves yelled over to me. There was a chasm between us. I couldn't hear his words, but I caught the green garden hose he threw me. I stood alone, holding the hose for a second or two, wondering why in the world he would throw a garden hose to me when it was clear I had scampered onto the rocks to try to save the boy from certain drowning. We caught glimpses of the bright yellow slicker bobbing under and surfacing as the waves swelled up and down. Before I realized why someone had thrown a green garden hose, another guy climbed up to where I was standing, took the hose out of my bewildered, anxious hands, and wrapped one end of it around his waist, tying it as tight as you can a garden hose. Then he handed the other end to me, and of course, by then I realized why someone had thrown a garden hose. My partner yelled instructions. He was clearly in charge. "We'll get as close as we can." I knew what we were about to do, or attempt to do, though I wasn't as confident as my partner seemed to be. A wave came, and we stood on the exposed end of those rocks. But luckily, it wasn't one of those big killer waves. We clung to one another, as well as to whatever hold we could get on the ragged rocks. Our faces were inches away from one another, and he looked into my eyes, and it was a once-in-a-lifetime look, clearly conveying all he wanted to say. Then he yelled, "Hang on," and he dove in. Within seconds, he grabbed the boy's slicker that was serving as a kind of life raft with trapped air. I pulled them in, and together we dragged the limp, seemingly lifeless body high onto the rocks. We rolled him over, and we pushed or maybe whacked him from behind, nothing. And again, I pulled some seaweed from his mouth, and he choked a breath and threw up a bellyful of ocean and gasped air back and began to breathe. Almost as soon as he began to breathe, a fire truck arrived. Where did that come from? I absolutely don't know, but firemen used a short ladder to form a bridge, and they came and took over. In a minute, the boy was gone, and my partner shook my hand hard and said, "Nice going," and I said, "Thanks," and I meant to say more. I wanted to say, "Thank you for putting your trust in me. Thanks for having the courage to jump into that sea." But before I had a chance to say anything, he was gone. We never had a conversation. The people invited me into their house to wash my bloodied feet. I hadn't noticed the cuts. Someone had retrieved my shoes and given them to my family, who were more shaken than I was. This is a story about being bold, about doing what needs to be done. It is a story about needing one another. We needed the hose, and someone threw it. We needed one of us on each end of that lifeline. We needed one another. Certainly the unconscious boy floating on the raging ocean needed us. There's a brief, powerful footnote to this incident. A similar incident took place on Marblehead Neck that same afternoon, a few hundred yards away. A boy was pulled into a raging sea, and a young man, a champion swimmer, dove in to save him. The would-be rescuer never surfaced. The boy who had been pulled in was tossed onto the rocks and rescued. We need one another to accomplish any great task. We cannot do it alone. This is RE Week at Star Island. Has anyone been to Star Island? You have? I have. Anyone else? Only the two of us. Well, a bunch of people from here are at Star Island right now. I was there once. My son, who's now 15, was 6 at the time. They were actually recruiting ministers, so they paid for my time there, thinking that I would love it so much I would bring my congregation. And honestly, I did really like it, but I never brought anyone, and I didn't go back. So that was not a good investment on their part. But I got to go, which was great. So after driving, it's like off the coast of New Hampshire, so you drive to New Hampshire, and then you get on a boat, and it takes about an hour to get out to this really rustic, beautiful island. The buildings are from the turn of the last century, which feels appropriate in this cell-free, car-free, virtually screen-free environment. The heart of the island is this massive front porch. It like connects all of these different buildings, and it's really deep, and it faces the Atlantic Ocean. So my husband wasn't there. He was working that week. And I had other family obligations, so I actually arrived a little bit late. We were like a day or two late. And when we got there, people had really kind of found their rhythm, you know, like when you're late like for something like that, and everyone's sort of into it and you're like new. So that was us, sort of like awkward and not really knowing what was going on. Also, everyone there knew each other because it's RE week. So there are all these religious educators there, they're colleagues, and they all know each other, and also all these parents with kids who go every single year. So they all knew each other for many years, and I was neither. So we were awkward. Zach and I were a little like, oh, we don't know what's going on. So meals at Star are served family style at tables of like a dozen or so. So for that very first dinner, I did what any good white New York mom would do. I sat my kid next to me. I made sure he had his napkin on his lap and he didn't disturb anybody. And we were very polite and, you know, trying to be appropriate in the situation. Right? The next morning, I walked him to his activity room after worship, and I said, you know, you don't leave here until I come back to pick you up. And we went after lunch to the playground, where I sat on a bench and I watched him. But then something really shifted over the next day. Some of the other visitors started to demonstrate a really different way, specifically to parent on this island. And it didn't take long for me to get the hang of it. It started with breakfast the next day. This kid came looking for Zach, and there wasn't another seat at our table. So the kid's mother was like, send him over here, and off he went. And then it kind of snowballed from there, leading to this pattern of parenting that I have to tell you, in New York City, would have been fodder for a lot of eye rolling. But what emerged is this sort of co-parenting situation. There was a lot of like, I'm going off to the cave, send your kid with me, or has anyone seen my kid? Which always got like people pointing in some direction because we saw your kid running off without you. I once heard there was this girl, she was like, Daddy, I want ice cream. And someone from the other side of the room was like, all she ate for lunch was bread. There was this like shared experience. Some man was like, have you seen my wife? And I'm like, I actually know exactly where she is. That was the way that it was on this island. In other words, there are a lot of eyes out all the time, lots of people paying attention. There was this warm sense like we're all in this together. It's a small island, there's nowhere to go, there isn't that much to do, and everyone has committed themselves to just being here together for a week, right? We're all in. That kind of human interaction, of partnership, of comfort level is not easy to find. It's not just about parenting in the 21st century in New York or anywhere. Life can be isolating. It feels isolating. We have this unspoken expectation that casual conversation doesn't pass the I'm fine and you stage, even if it's a topic that's really kind of emotional and personal, right? You lost your job and someone asks about it, and you want to say, I'm broke, I'm frightened, I feel worse about myself than I ever have. But instead, you say, oh, well, I've got some interviews, there are some prospects. In the meantime, I've had lots of time to get projects done. right? It doesn't matter if you are in that conversation for like half an hour. We never go deeper than that. And we leave feeling more alone than when the conversation started. In this world of fragmentation and disconnection, congregational life has always been my beacon of hope. I mean, theoretically, we are a group of people committed to living differently, to living honestly, to creating a culture of inclusion. Some of what we try to create here is a place people can be and bring their whole selves. Many of you have come here after a death or a divorce or some kind of crisis and just arrive needing a place to feel safe. Now, the two top reasons people join congregation is because they're in crisis or to educate their kids. And sometimes these things are related. Social isolation, a need for a spiritual home, a secret desire to live boldly or experience transformation or a break from averageness of daily life are reasons people seek spiritual community. And most people will admit that regardless of why they started, why they first arrived, when they first walked in the door, they stay because of the deep need for community, especially a community grounded in shared values. I mean, sometimes the crisis is national or global, more than personal, but it's real and it moves us through the door. And what we have here is a freely chosen and life-sustaining interdependence. Unitarian Universalism is a covenanted faith. We don't agree to believe the same thing, but we do agree to seek the ways of love together. We agree to be with and for one another, to partner with each other on all the paths of a long and full life. This has been who we are since our founding. In 1630, John Winthrop, soon to be the first governor of Massachusetts, spoke to a soggy band of Puritans who are our direct religious ancestors as they were sailing with high and pious hopes toward a new life in the New World. He said, "Now the only way to avoid shipwreck and to provide for our posterity is to follow the counsel of Micah, to do justly, to love mercy, to walk humbly with our God. We must be willing to abridge ourselves of our superfluities for the supply of others' necessities. We must delight in each other, make others' conditions our own, rejoice together, mourn together, labor and suffer together, always having before our eyes our commission and community in the work as members of the same body. So we shall keep the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace." Regardless of the reputation Puritans have gained over time, the truth is they weren't half as interested in a unity of belief as a unity of mission, a shared decision to live in love together. The decision to live in mutual love is what bound them each for the other, and it is what they chose to record as the foundation for their new church and their new society. In their founding document, and therefore in our founding document, the Cambridge Platform of 1848, they tell us, "We are a covenanted free church, a body of individuals who have made a profoundly simple promise. A covenant that says we pledge to walk together in the spirit of mutual love. The spirit of love is alone worthy of our religious loyalty. So we shall meet often to take counsel concerning the ways of love, and we will yield religious authority solely to our own understanding of what these ways are as best we can figure them out or learn or remember them together." While these are our cultural and political forebears as well as our theological ancestors, what has become the American norm is very different. We live in a consumer culture. It's not about working together or learning the ways of love together, but about making sure we get what we pay for. I'm going to admit our congregation is not completely immune to this, which still surprises me. I have certainly been confronted, as has most leadership, with those kinds of expectations. I'm going to also say, for the record, it's far less common here than it is in most other churches. And it definitely happens in the denomination often, where someone declares their impending departure or a cut in pledge due to a dissatisfaction, generally with the expectation that leadership will fix whatever it is they don't like. I mean, I was in a congregation, someone threatened to leave the church because the board had changed the locks on the front door. Like, really? And they were like, you know what? Fine. I'd be like, what are you supposed to do? But there's that sort of consumer culture that is part of even our churches, which makes sense because it's part of our culture outside of our churches, right? Like, I don't like the way our pool is run. I'm not renewing my membership. I don't like service at this restaurant. I'm not going to eat here. That's how we hope places are going to shape up. It is the American capitalist way. But congregational life is here to be countercultural, to offer an alternative to the norm. We don't charge people for a service. We are, in times of crisis, the ones who will tie a hose around our waists to pull you out of the crashing waves before you drown. We are the ones who will welcome you to the potluck when you have no access and no ability to bring food. We will educate your children with the values you espouse. We will celebrate and mourn and dream a new world with you. We are here to follow a spiritual path of interdependence. And sometimes my colleagues joke that seminary should have had a course in customer service. But Unitarian Universalists aren't customers. We are congregants. We are equal members of a community struggling to discover or remember the ways of love. A spirituality of interdependence is a beautiful and challenging concept. Spirituality is the way we seek greater life, the way we seek meaning. Religion is how we do that in community. So when I talk about a spiritual path, I'm referring to the path into deeper, more meaningful life together. I think I had a window into spiritual interdependence at Star Island. One morning, a handful of parents, including myself, got into rowboats and rowed the kids to a nearby island. We got them out and onto the island, and we explored for a while, then back in the boats. The parents of those children, there's only a few of us who did the rowing, and so the other parents, they were practicing great interdependence, right? They just let their children go off in these boats with us. And after lunch that day, my 6-year-old went running off with his new best friend. And several hours later, I thought maybe I should figure out where he went. And I took a walk to all the places he might have been. And I found him with some other kids and parents in the marine lab with a snake wrapped around his arm while he was at the coloring table, as if a snake wasn't wrapped around his body. So as I noticed that's what was happening, I was like, oh, Zach. And they're like, oh, Zach. I noticed that was happening. And some other parent kind of put her hand on my back. She was like, he's okay. Snake is okay. They're both fine. And I was like, you know what? This is not my thing. I don't think I can do the snake coloring situation. And she's like, I got this. And I left. Walking away, letting go, that's a spiritual practice, right? Just allowing ourselves, our family, the people we love to be embraced by the whole. Outside of unusual experiences like summer vacation on a tiny island, webs of interdependence take time to weave. It begins with trust, with risk-taking. It continues with mutuality and promise-making. It's enlarged with practice and intentionality. And you know those webs exist when your home floods and you call the community for help. Actually calling, actually asking for help, actually receiving and accepting help. That's authentic relationship. It's what we avoid when we're not in authentic relationship. As Winthrop said, we must delight in each other, make others' conditions our own, rejoice together, mourn together, labor and suffer together. So I wonder if we can practice this. I'm going to say out loud, really clearly and honestly, I think we do practice this. I actually think we do a pretty good job. We are definitely building from a place, moving into a place, but I think we're okay. And yet, like many of you, I am concerned for the future of our nation as we institutionalize hate at the highest levels of government. In the context of our covenanted faith, I'm hoping we can practice the ways of love together. I'm hoping that we can be even more intentional about a spirituality of interdependence. I know Karishma preached the same kind of message last week. I know that I am not the only one, she is not the only one, who hopes interdependence becomes an integral part of our communal life. This practice can be directed toward each other in the way we welcome everyone in our community, the way we understand our own place in the congregation. I mean, honestly, when this gorgeous little baby cries and everybody just is like, either that's great, you keep crying, sweetie, that's what babies do, or like, hey, can I help because like you've got a solo and I realize this may not be the best moment for your baby to cry. But there is this way in which we move and shift and love each other, and the way that we can keep building. My hope is that we will take that strong foundation and build an ever more resilient community of love, designing and populating collectives, building mutual aid as an active part of congregational life. I think our greatest hope in this country, in light of so much hate, is a dramatic increase of communities of love. If we're going to offer safety to people being tossed about in national waves of hate and chaos, we need to shift our own mindset, weaving ourselves into an interdependent web. We need to commit ourselves to being with and for each other, for keeping an eye on each other's children, for being a beacon of hope, a community that mourns and labors and delights in one another, forever holding on to the other side of the hose to save each other from being tossed out alone at sea.
We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round, attend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now, it is time now that we thrive. It is time to lead ourselves into the world. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round and tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now, it is time now that we thrive. It is time we breathe ourselves into the world. It is In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time to lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love.
It's July, so we don't have programs or even children's chapel or lots of the things we usually have during the year. But it is good to be with you, good to see you all. Let us close. Be ours a religion which, like sunshine, goes everywhere. Its temple, all space, its shrine, the good heart, its creed, all truth, its ritual, works of love, its profession of faith, divine living. We will extinguish our chalice. We send our light out where healing and hope are needed. Let us go to love and serve this world and one another. It's good to be with you.